Good morning, everyone. Thank you, everybody, for coming to today's meeting. Before we begin the meeting, allow me to introduce myself. I am General Tan Sri Muhammad bin Muhammad Ali, the chairman of this meeting. Without hesitation, I would like to begin our meeting right away. Could you please confirm the presence of the quorum, Ms. Vinci?
The quorum is enough to start the board meeting. Everyone is present except Encik Idris bin Yusuf because he was unwell. He apologized for his absence. Tan Sri, we should proceed with the meeting now.
Thank you, Ms. Vinci. The meeting will now come to order. The notice of the board meeting has already been sent to all the board of directors. Anyone does not agree to that, please raise your hand. If there are no people who disagree with that, I would like to declare the notice of the board meeting has been taken as read.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Ms. Vinci, could you please explain the voting procedure to us before we proceed to our meeting?
Yes, sure, Tan Sri. For the voting procedure conducted later, when our chairman calls for a vote on the resolution later, please raise your hand in front of your screen. Any reaction or emoji will not be counted. Any questions? If not, then I will pass back to Tan Sri.
Ms. Vinci, you can continue to explain the agenda for today's meeting.
Okay, for today's board meeting, we have 11 agenda in total. So for number 1, to review and approve the audited financial statement and related reports for the financial year ended 31st December 2021. Second, to discuss the retirement and re-election of the directors of the company. Third, to discuss the directors' fees and benefits. Fourth, to discuss the retention and fixed remuneration of the current auditor. Fifth, to discuss the authority to issue shares under Section 75 and 76. Number 6, to discuss the change of name from Rancak Niaga Berhad to Rancak Niaga Holding Berhad. 7, to discuss the investment in Rancak Niaga Berhad. 8, to discuss the RM70 million loan from Ambank Islamic Berhad. 8, to discuss the 9, to discuss the creation of a charge from the loan against the land at the Mukim Pangkalan Kundur. 10, to approve a resolution to hold the annual grand meeting AGM and authorize the secretary to issue the notice. And lastly, number 11, to review and finalize the draft of the notice of AGM.
Thank you so much, Ms. Vinci. We'll work through the agenda one by one. Following the voting process, all results will be announced and tabled. Are there any objection to this?
No.
No.
Okay, so let's proceed to the first agenda. So our first agenda for today is the approval of the audited financial statement for the financial year ending 31 December 2021. I assume that our director has already received and reviewed the audited financial statement. Thus, I will pass this matter to Dato' Irfan Ben Badri to discuss the audited financial reports.
Okay. Thank you, Tan Sri. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The audited financial statements and the auditor's final report have been sent to each of you via email. I believe everyone should have taken a look at it before we started. Rancak Niaga Berhad's financial statements are sufficient and appropriate to provide a true and fair view of the company's financial position as of 31st December 2021, according to the report from our external auditor. Furthermore, the Board of Directors reports information match the financial statements information. Following the MFRS recommendations and the requirements of the companies at 2016, financial performance and cash flows for the year ended are analyzed in accordance with these standards. Do you have any questions about the financial statements before we proceed with the approval?
No.
If there is no objection, we can now proceed to the voting session. Please raise your hand if you are in favor of approving the audited financial statement. Please, Ms. Vinci, if you could count the votes on the screen.
Sure, Tan Sri. Please raise your hand if you are agree to approve the audited financial statement. Alright, Tan Sri, based on the result, we have approved the audited financial statement.
Thank you, Ms. Vinci. Thus, I would like to declare that the resolution to approve audited financial statement for the year ended 31 December 2021 of Rancak Niaga Berhad is passed. So, the audited financial statement will be present in the next AGM. So now, we will proceed to our next agenda, which is to discuss the re-election of the directors. Now, I would like to invite our Managing Director, Dato' Irfan Ben Badri, and our Secretary, Ms. Vinci, to brief us on the issue of retirement and re-election of directors.
Okay, thank you again, Tan Sri. According to Section 205, Subsection 3 of Companies Act 2016, stated that at each annual general meeting, 1/3 of the directors of companies for the time being shall retire from office by rotation, provided that Act 2016, every director shall be subject to retirement by rotation at least once every 3 years.
So how we decide who is going retired?
Okay. Therefore, in the case of Rancak Niaga Berhad, we must select 2 directors with the longest time in the office since their last election to retire at the upcoming AGM. In addition, it is common for the Article of Association to state that a managing director is not required to comply with the retirement by rotation provision. Since Dato' Irfan is the managing director of this company, he will not retire until the next AGM, at which time the additional director will retire. This was stated in subsection 3A of section 203 of the Companies Act 2016.
Oh, I see. So who will retire in the next AGM?
Dato' Nathan, allow me to explain it further. In this case of Rancak Niaga Berhad, that the director have provided the longest service are Datin Imelda binti Maizlan, has served for 40 months after being appointed as a company director in 2019. And our chairman, General Tan Sri Muhammad bin Muhammad Ali, have served for 40 months since the last re-election as a director and chairman in 2019. So Mr. Idris bin Yusof must also retire as he was appointed as a director outside of our AGM, which is it is not an official method of the director appointment.
Alright, thank you, Ms. Vinci. So, Dato' Nadenai, I would like to ask your opinion regarding this retirement since you are one of the seniors in this company.
According to Section 205, Subsection 5 of Company Act 2016, the retiring director is also eligible for re-election unless the director is not qualified. Thus, the same person will be re-elected during the next AGM. Hence, these 3 retired directors will be proposed to re-elect as director again in the upcoming AGM based on their extensive knowledge and experience.
Thank you for your suggestion. I am willing to be re-elected again.
Does everyone agree with this idea? Those in favor to agree with Dato' Nadenai's suggestion, kindly raise your hand. So, I conclude that Datin Imelda, Mr. Idris, and I will be retired next AGM and will be proposed to be re-elected back if we are not disqualified. Thus, this will be brought up into our upcoming AGM for the approval from the members. Okay, now we can continue to third agenda about the fees and benefits to directors. I pass the meeting to Ms. Vinci for a further explanation of this matter. Shall you proceed, Ms. Vinci?
Okay, sure, Tan Sri. As I got the information from the managing director, Dato' Irfan, he recommends that the director's fees and benefits should be maintained at the same amount as the previous year. I have no issue on this matter, and what about others? Since these matters are mentioned in section 230 subsection 1 of the Companies Act 2016, the fees of the directors and any benefits payable to the directors of a listed company and its subsidiary should be approved at a general meeting. So here I need an approval from all of you. If any of you disagree, please raise your hand. Since no one raised their hands, it means all of you are agree on this item.
Thank you, Ms. Vinci. So as a result, we shall maintain the fees and benefits of directors the same as in the previous fiscal year. I hereby declare that the approval of the fees and benefits of directors has been passed. Next, we move to the next agenda, which is to retain our current auditor and to fix their remuneration. Can you explain further about this agenda, Ms. Vinci?
Yes, Tan Sri. Okay, as we know, our current auditor is MERS Pro Malaysia PLT. So that will be retained until the next AGM. So we should reappoint the current auditor before the next AGM. Any objection on this matter?
I do consent to retaining our current auditor as they are qualified professionals who meet our company's requirement. So in addition, they have extensive experience, follow the guidelines and complete the work on time.
Yes, I do agree with you, Datin Imelda. Thank you for your compliments to our auditor. How about others? If all of you agree to retain our current auditor, please raise your hand. Thank you, everyone. Now I pass the mic to Tan Sri to continue this agenda.
So as everyone agreed to retain our current auditor, next on auditor remuneration, any idea on this matter?
Yes, Tan Sri. As we maintain our current auditor the same as last year, I suggest we fix their remuneration the same as the previous financial year.
Yes, I do agree with your suggestion, Nazin. Let's vote on this matter. If any of you have an objection, please raise your hand. Okay, so I assume all of you agree to fix the current auditor's remuneration.
Thank you, Ms. Vinci. I conclude that everyone agrees to retain our current auditor and fix their remuneration the same as in the previous financial year. Now, our next agenda is the authorization of the issuance of shares to our directors. For your information, we need to obtain the authority again in the coming AGM. So, is there any problem or opinions regarding this matter?
I'm sorry, Tan Sri. During our last net AGM before, we already got the approval to issue the shares. Then why do we still need to obtain the approval again for our next coming AGM?
Okay, actually, Dr. Irfan, we need to gain the approval to issue the shares again every time we hold our AGM. This is because the approval for the last AGM had expired. And now we need to renew the approval again. If we refer to the section 76 sub 3 sub A of the Companies Act 2016, an approval expired in the case where a company is required to hold an AGM. Number one, at the conclusion of the AGM held until the next after the approval was given, or at the expiry of the period within which the next AGM is required to be held after the approval was given. So whichever is earlier. This means that the approval to issue the shares that the directors obtained during the previous AGM had expired. So that's why we need to obtain the approval again in the next AGM.
Oh, okay. Now I understand. Thank you, Ms. Vinci, for your explanation.
Thank you again, Ms. Vinci, for the explanation. Now we continue for the next agenda. Moving on the next agenda, during the last board meeting, we have discussed changing the name of the company. So does anyone have any issue about this before we proceed to vote?
About this agenda, I would
Yes, Datuk Nedanai, can you please repeat?
Datuk Nathan.
Datuk Nedanai, can you please repeat?
Oh, sorry. About this agenda, I would like to ask, are we allowed to change the company name since we have already registered the name?
Okay, to change the company name, we must follow the constitution that is stated in the Companies Act 2016. Referring to the section 28 of the Companies Act 2016, okay, a company may resolve that its name may be changed by a special resolution, and then the company need to notify the registrar. Next, the registrar are satisfied that the new names complies with the provision of the Companies Act 2016. Okay. And then the change of the company should take the effect from the date the notice of the registration be issued. In conclusion, we need to notify the registrar that we want to change our company name, and we also need to make sure that they are satisfied by the following their conditions.
Thanks, Ms. Vinci. So Ms. Vinci also had provide the circular alongside the details on the proposed name change, the justification for the name change, and the impact of the proposed name change. Does anyone have any question regarding this matter?
No, Tan Sri.
No,
No,
Tan Sri.
Alright, let's vote on the proposed change of the company name. Please raise your hand if you are agree to amend it. Alright, the voting is already counted and all of the directors agreed to change the name of the company. Thus, we will include this matter in the AGM.
Thank you, Ms. Vinci. I conclude that this agenda has been passed. So let's go on the seventh agenda on our list, which is the investment in Rancak Travels Sdn Bhd. Datin Imelda, I understand you prepared a proposal on behalf of Rancak Travels Sdn Bhd. Could you please elaborate on this?
Sure, Tan Sri. As you all know, I am the one of director of our new subsidiary in Rancak Travels Sdn Bhd. So, and I am currently recommending the acquisition of additional share. So, our board of director agreed at our previous meeting to form the Rancak Travels Sdn Bhd and enter the tourism industry. So, for your information, Rancak Travels Sdn Bhd is a newly incorporated company based in Changlong, Kedah, whose primary business is selling a travel package and arranging the consumer transportation, lodging, as well as tours. So due to this company proximity to our headquarters, our team can always pay a visit at the low cost and in a short amount of time. Moreover, as we all know that Malaysia prepares to welcome back the international tourists following the government declaration of the complete reopening the border. So we are optimistic that the country's tourism attraction will recover. So in that case, if we wish to successfully develop our business outside of our core industry, I think that we should increase our investment in the tourism firm.
Yes. I agree with you that this is appropriate time for us to increase our investment in the company because we can see a market opportunity in the tourism industry. But what about the company's human resources? Is the company equipped with the necessary human resources? Is it true that human resources is the most important component in determining the success of travel industry?
I appreciate your inquiry, Datuk Nazir. This is nothing to be concerned about in this travel industry. The human resources department is very crucial. So our HR administration is prepared to provide the travel agent with the necessary resources, including the software and schedule calendars that are needed to retain and manage information to the greatest extent possible. So this is because the travel agency will be in daily contact with the client, contacting hotel and resort for pricing information and checking the flight status. So I think that the travel agent required necessities such as a computer with the internet access and under convenience.
Oh, I get what you mean. So how about the agent hiring procedure?
Okay, during the hiring process, the travel-related skills and abilities, as well as the relevant work experience, are very essential. So in this case, only an experienced candidate with the ability to manage multiple people at all at once will be able to successfully coordinate the trip activity. Thus, our HR manager will be able to evaluate the significance of degrees and certification in the travel and tourism industry and also select the most qualified candidate.
Oh, all right. Thank you, Dating Imelda.
You are welcome, Datuk Nazir. Do you have any other question related about this issue?
No.
I would like to add that investing more shares in Rancak Travel is a fantastic idea, especially since the government is committed to boosting the tourism industry.
Yes, I am confident our involvement in the tourism industry would be profitable.
Yes, I believe Rancak Travel Sdn Bhd has opportunity for greater investment. We'll move on the voting session. Those that are opposed are encouraged to speak up.
No.
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 So,
Since everyone has agreed, I am announcing that the motion has been passed. The 17 million ringgit Malaysia loan from M-Bank Islamic Berhad is the next item on our agenda. Does anyone has any question about this?
I have a question. Is this the loan being used for the purpose of the investment in the Rancak Travel Sdn Bhd?
yes, you are correct, Datuk Nazir. Because we have collectively decided to increase our investments in Rancak Travel Sdn Bhd, we believe that obtaining a loan is our best option.
70 million ringgit is a huge sum. Do we really require that much money?
Absolutely, Datuk Nathan. In our proposal, we calculated both the return on investment and the risk of investment. So our business potential of our investment exceed the risk of debt. Therefore, we believe that taking out the loan is a prudential decision.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Would you mind explain why we choose M-Bank Islamic Bank other than any financial institutions?
Okay, let me take this question. The reasons are simple. We've been using these banks' financing services for years, and the interest rate on the loan is acceptable and inexpensive at 3.3% only, which is lower than the typical bank lending rate of around 3.5%.
Oh, so no more question for me. Thank you for the updated data.
Do any of you have any question?
No.
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 All right. I hope everyone understand why we need 17 million ringgit Malaysia loan from M-Bank Islamic Berhad. Let us now discuss the following agenda. Now, we will continue with our ninth agenda, which is to discuss the creation of charge against the land at Mukim Pekalan Kundo. I will pass this session to Dato' Irfan to further explain this issue.
Okay, thank you, Tan Sri. So as mentioned in the previous agenda, our company will apply for a loan from M-Bank Islam Berhad. The loan will incur charges on the land in Mukim Pangkalan Kundur, which will be pledged to the bank to secure the loan repayment. However, we will still get benefits from this. For example, the loan approval process will become easier as we give the lender a guarantee for the money they lend. Moreover, this will also help us in getting a flexible loan repayment term as well as a low interest rate.
So, how much is the interest rate for this loan?
Okay, the interest is 1.85% per annum for 30 years. However, I have analyzed our financial performance for the past few years. which indicated that our financial performance was relatively stable and this interest would not be an issue for us.
I can also many benefit resulting from that. Additionally, to the best of my knowledge, we will be eligible for the tax deduction on the loan interest amount. Furthermore, the majority of the lenders do not impose prepayment penalties on the loan that are paid off early.
Excellent job. It seems like we will gain a lot of benefits from the charge against the land. Hence, if there are no questions, we will proceed to the voting. Is it okay? Now, we will proceed with the voting session. As usual, please raise your hand if you agree to this additional investment. Miss Vinci, could you please count the vote through the screen?
Sure, Tan Sri. Okay, Tan Sri, all of the directors have agreed with this agenda.
Thank you, Miss Vinci. Since all the directors agree, I hereby declare that this resolution has been passed. Since we have already reached this far, let's move on to the next agenda that was mentioned by our secretary just now, which is the issue that we have resolved for today. Anyone have any objection related to the resolution that we bring to the AGM?
No.
Oh,
Since there is no objection regarding this matter, I am glad to ask Miss Vinci to announce the detail of AGM.
Thank you, Tan Sri. So I would like to announce the date and time regarding the AGM. So the next AGM will be conducted on 14 July 2022 at 2:30 p.m.
I hope that all directors will log your date on 14 July 2022 at 2:30 p.m. for our next AGM so that everybody will attend the meeting.
I hope the same too. Hope everything goes fine in the next AGM.
Okay, so Miss Vinci, that's it for our resolution for the next AGM. You can start to issue a notice for our next AGM and send it to them by 23rd of June. If there are any changes, please make an amendment to the notice. But the date of the AGM remains the same. Great. Here come to the last agenda, which is review of notice of annual general meeting. Miss Vinci, do you provide us with the draft of notice of AGM?
Yes, Tan Sri. So regarding our initial plan for our 10 AGM, we will conduct fully in hybrid from the broadcast venue at the function room, Lot 10 Complex Dagangan Changlun 06010 Changlun Kedah on Thursday 14 July 2022 at 2:30 p.m. So the draft of AGM is based on the resolution from the last board meeting which must be approved by the members. First, to reappoint the current auditor, Merskro Malaysia PLT, to give the directors the authority to fix their remuneration. And number two, propose change of name of the company name from the Rancak Niaga Berhad to Rancak Niaga Holding Berhad. Okay, on the next, resolution that has been resolved in today's board meeting that needs approval from members must be included on the AGM agenda are as follows. First, to receive the audited financial statement for the financial year ended 31st December 2021 together with the reports of the director and the auditor thereon. Two, to re-elect the following directors who retire by rotation pursuant to Rule 102 of the company's constitution and being eligible have offered themselves to re-election, which is Muhammad bin Muhammad Ali, Imelda binti Mazlan, and Idris bin Yusuf. Next, third, to approve the director's fee and benefits to be maintained at the same amount. Fourth, authority to issue shares pursuant to Section 75 and 76 of the Companies Act 2016. So the AGM will notice be sent out at least 21 days before the meeting.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss Vinci. Regarding our last agenda, anyone who has a question or inquiry feels free to ask before we end our meeting.
No.
Okay then. Therefore, I declare the previous agenda as our last agenda. As for our polling session that have been conducted before, Ms. Vinci, could you please provide us with a summary of what we discussed today, which is the results of the polling?
Alright, sure, Tan Sri. So based on our meeting today, we have resolved all 11 agendas. So to summarize it, first, we have approved the audited financial statement since there is no objection regarding this matter. It means that our financial statement is disclosed and reported accordingly, and everyone has raised their hands for the polling. Second, the meeting has agreed to retire the directors, Datin Imelda, General Tan Sri Muhammad, as well as Mr. Idris, and re-elect them who retire with Rule 102 of the Constitution of the company and eligible offer themselves for the re-election. Third, regarding the director's fee and benefits, we agree to have the same amount of the director's fee and benefit as the previous financial year. As our fourth agenda, which is regarding to the retention and fix the remuneration of the current auditor, we have agreed to reappoint the current auditor and fix their remunerations, to fix the auditor's remuneration. Okay, next, regarding the issue shares, according to Section 75 and 76 of the Companies Act 2016, the board has agreed with this matter. For our sixth agenda, we also agree to change the name of the company from Rancak Niaga Berhad to Rancak Niaga Holding Berhad. Then, regarding the investment in Rancak Niaga Berhad, everyone has agreed to invest in Rancak Niaga Berhad. For the eighth agenda, which is 70 million ringgit Malaysia million loan from the Ambank Islamic Berhad, the board has agreed to apply the stated loan. Regarding the creation of a charge from the loan against the land at the Mukim Pengkalan Kundur, everyone has agreed with this agenda. Moving to the agenda number 10, which is the board has approved a resolution to hold the annual grand meeting AGM and authorize the secretary to issue the notice. Lastly, on the draft of the notice of AGM has been reviewed. I would like to again reaffirm that all these decisions are made by votes from all boards on this meeting. So that is any question regarding this matter?
No.
So if there is no question, we will stick to the majority vote, and if there are any changes that must be made, we will still conduct a meeting so that everyone can get involved in decision making. I hope everyone is clear about this matter.
Thank you so much for the summary of today's meeting, Ms. Vinci. It's great that we'll be able to accomplish everything on our agenda. If there is nothing else to discuss, I would like to seek a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I propose that the meeting be adjourned.
I seconded the proposal.
So I now declare this meeting stands adjourned. Thank you all for attending today's meeting. This meeting is dismissed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.